Well, we have people patiently waiting on us, so we will jump here and get started this morning. We have a couple of topics that we want to talk about, but also want to mention that we're well into our new year, and hopefully none of you have broken your New Year's resolution yet. I can tell you I haven't broken mine. I made the resolution this year that I'm going to be the best mayor that Wichita has. So it's helpful that right now I'm the only mayor Wichita has. So I can't break my resolution. A couple of things we want to talk about today, and we'll get to it. Mr. King is going to be here in a moment talking about our signalization. You know, I said we're going to give traffic updates on a regular basis, and today's topic is going to involve our signalization that we are working on. Also want to recognize our state's birthday that this past Sunday, 156 years old. A fitting motto, ad astra per aspera, to the stars through difficulty. And I think that we've had our share of difficulty, but I believe that we are well on our way to the stars. And so happy birthday to Kansas. Also, this is Black History Month. We have a couple of ladies here that can help us. It's Black History Month with a Candid Conversation. So to honor Black History Month and to continue the discussions that have been started in this past summer of the First Steps Cookout, the Wichita Library is partnering with the Wichita Police Department and a dozen community organizations to offer a series of programs designed to encourage discussion about race issues in Wichita. The program, called Candid Conversations, a discussion of race in Wichita, will offer a variety of programs at locations across Wichita. It will address current issues of race, including racial profiling, voting rights, and Wichita's role in the civil rights movement. Events include a panel presentation with the Wichita Chief of Police Gordon Ramsey, as well as presentations by published authors on Kansas studies on race and racial profiling. Candid Conversations is made possible by a grant from the National Endowment of Humanities and the Kansas Humanities Council. The first program is February the 8th at the Central Library. Candid Conversations event will continue throughout this summer. All the programs are free and open to the public, and you can find a list of the scheduled programs and their descriptions at www.wichitalibrary.org/candid. And so we encourage our community to carry on with those candid discussions. We truly believe that we're better when we sit down and talk about these things together. Traffic signalization project is one that this community has been talking about for a very long time, and with us today is Alan King. And Alan, I'm going to turn it over to you to let you talk about what's happening right now.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Travel and traffic times, delay times, it takes us about 20 minutes to get across town now on average across the city. And that's among one of the best delay times, lowest delay times in our peer cities of about 100 different cities that were surveyed. So we're in the lowest amount of delay time. That's good for the city. I know moving here from the outside, one of the things that really struck me was how well traffic moves here in the city, and I know that visitors and people that live here enjoy that. Still, we want to focus on continuing to reduce our delay times. Delay times have an effect on how long it takes you to get to your work or to where you're going, to where you live. It adds to the amount of air pollution as you are running your car longer, and we think that this is one of the things that we want to improve and make an even better situation here at the city. So while we're doing well, we want to do better, and to that end, Council has put in place a $500,000 capital improvement plan amount for each year to improve our traffic signalization, and it's really in two areas. One is our arterials, improving the signalization along arterials, coordinating lights, and the others in the central business district. On the arterials, we're evaluating signals on Central from Hillside to 127th Street East, and on Rock Road from Lincoln to 37th Street North. And new timing plans for those corridors will be developed, with us looking to implement some improvements sometime this spring or summer, and then we'll monitor that through the year. And we're going to use a couple of these arterial corridors and make some improvements there, and then also learn some lessons so that we can select the arterials that we'll be doing the following year and making improvements there. In the Central Business District, right now we have signals intersections where we don't have equipment vehicle detectors, or crosswalks where you can push the button for your crosswalk. So some of our intersections are based on timing, which means that you can be driving along, come to an intersection, it turns red, and there's no cross traffic, no pedestrians. And so what we plan on doing is adding some equipment that isn't there presently, and approximately 100 traffic signal controllers will be replaced in the downtown area with new timing and coordination plans implemented, and this will include pedestrian push buttons. And this should improve the traffic flow through our Central Business District, and that's what we hope to do this year, with perhaps incremental improvements in the following year. Future CIP funds will include additional work on the arterials. Like I said, we're doing these two main corridors, and then we'll be doing additional corridors as long as CIP funds continue to be available to us. One of the things that's so important for us is our traffic signalization is based on technology and equipment, but it's also based on our response to complaints. So even a good system, if there's some maintenance that's needed, a lot of times we'll get a call from somebody, and then we'll go out and make improve our fixes to the system if there's a problem. And typically, what we see is we have more than 500 signalized intersections right now, and presently during business hours, our response time is at the most 30 minutes, and that's during normal business hours. And when we're outside of the normal day, it can take us some time a little bit longer than that. 1 hour generally is our average for after business calls. So if we ask the public to help us improve our traffic signalization by calling in problems. If it's a malfunction where the light's not working and there's a safety issue, potential safety issue, we ask that citizens call 911. And that's the way that the information gets to us to repair that malfunctioning system. If it's a matter of a delay, you think you've been sitting for a long time at a light, or it's taking several cycles to get through, a queue of cars to get through, then we ask that the citizens dial Wichita, WICHITA. That's the same thing as 942-4482, and during business hours, and that will get us that information so we can make the repair or fix. And if it's after hours, you can leave a message at 268-4013 and choose option 4. So that's what we're trying to do, Mayor, to make our traffic even better.
That's awesome. Just might add that we're not asking for anyone to text us those traffic issues as they're traveling around the city. We're still cracking down on that. Just to throw some numbers out at you, because we are investing in our infrastructure. And I've mentioned this before. When I first became on council, we were only spending about $4 million a year on neighborhood streets. We will have that up to $11 million a year starting next year. But that's not the only money we spend on our road infrastructure. We're spending about $30 million a year from the county sales tax monies that goes to bridges, main arterials, and new improvements around town. And then we're fortunate enough to get some significant dollars from the state. So there's 2 projects going on that are nearing $300 million on Kellogg today, both East and West Kellogg. So there's significant dollars besides the nearly $41 million we spend every year on street infrastructure and improvements. And so we are continuing to invest in what's most important for our citizens. So at that point in time, I want to thank our guests from their busy day to show up here and help us, and we'll open it up for any questions. We appreciate your.
So what do you know what the $500,000 is going to buy? It's going to get you the coordination on Rock
Do you have all of the details for that, Alan?
Yeah, it's a study, those two corridors and the equipment involved.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it'll be a consulting study that's necessary for us to come up with the kind of timing. The equipment change out in addition to new equipment throughout the central business district, and the equipment changes, if any, that we need to do on those two corridors.
And we can probably provide more details as we work our way through this signalization projects, because there's a lot of infrastructure that eventually has to be put into place to be able to truly synchronize our signalization around the city. Besides that clicker that they give the mayor whenever I'm traveling around the city. Oh, all right.
What's the time frame on getting like those projects done? Like a year, 2 years after the study's in?
Well, the study obviously has a short window. So we'll have all of that wrapped up by this year. And then moving forward with what comes out of that study, it will just be an allocation of resources to get to the point where we're handling those synchronizations.
Is that something city workers will take care of, Mayor?
We don't know yet. I mean, it certainly are things, some of that will be done by contractors. I mean, it could be. We could get to the point where some of that would be done through an RFP process or other things, depending on the nature of the infrastructure. But eventually, as we get to the point where we have the equipment in place that can handle the signals, that we can control the signalization, oftentimes that then is brought in-house and done with city employees once you get to the point where the hardware's in place. We have very talented people in our public works department that we have a lot of faith in that they can get it done. And I would say that even if some of them weren't here today. But we truly believe in our ability to do things and get it done and have the expertise that we need to make it happen. And we're not afraid, if we don't have the expertise, to go out and find it.
Assuming still no estimates on, like, if it's 20 minutes now, after it's done, will it be 19 minutes or 18 minutes?
We probably won't have that information yet, and some of that we'll have to measure after it's completed. But there's obviously multiple reasons to do it. I mean, it can help the air quality, it can help the congestion, it can certainly help first responders as the roads are cleared and trying to get to where they need to go. And so there's a wide variety of reasons that this would benefit the city.
Mayor, I know the First Steps Cookout was a huge success in a lot of ways, but just kind of continue on that. How big or how important is it that the community takes part in this candid conversation to continue moving the city forward in race relations?
So again, those are conversations that I think are very important to our community so that we can truly figure out how to move our community forward collectively. And I like the direction that our community is going in, much to the success of our police chief and the innovative ways that he's tried to reach out to various groups in our community, and his whole approach to the way that we want to address community policing and others in our community. Community policing used to be handled by a small department, and that's no longer our philosophy. Community policing is everyone's responsibility. If you carry a badge, you're a community police officer, and that's a change from where we used to be. But those conversations are critically important, and we don't want to shy away from them. Those are candid conversations. I think the title's perfectly. I don't know if any of you want to address that you're here for the tough questions anyways. But I think those are wonderful conversations to have that will move our community forward. Some might consider this the low-hanging fruit. We get this right, then we'll have candid conversations with county commissioners. They didn't tape that, did they? I'm kidding. Anything you wanted to add on the Candid Conversations? What about county commissioners? Okay. No, we like our relationship there. It's getting better all the time. Well, thank you all. Appreciate you being here today.